Just let us know, Nick. Ready? Oh, there's Robert.
Sorry, we're ready now.
Okay. Anin Boujou, Minogejep, welcome everybody to our council meeting. We apologize for the lateness. We have Vernon Adams here this morning. So what I will do is I will first call the meeting to order, and then we'll have invocation and roll call. And then I will be reading a statement from the tribal council. And so with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 8:55 a.m. And we have our spiritual advisor, Vernon Adams, here in my office. So I will let Vern do his speaking and invocation. Want me to mute it? Do I have to mute it? Okay. Yep.
What nung man ito yun din. Yung ito man yun lahat na sa iba. You know what?
Sorry. Next, we will have roll call.
Kathy Favors,
Here.
Shane Drift,
Ma, here.
Eric Eshik,
Here.
Travis Morrison,
Here.
and Robert Moyer.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Yesterday, well, actually, Tara and Robert are in New Mexico for training. And so they're in a different time zone, and they have to attend this training. It's somewhat mandatory that they be at the entire training. It's a gaming commission training, which, you know, is great for them to learn. So we had asked to have the meeting earlier on their benefit so they can get to their training. And at that point, there was a something set, we wanted it out on social media and regroup. And so I have a statement to read regarding what happened with regards to that yesterday. So this statement went out this morning, and I will read it to everybody that's on the meeting. To Boys Fort band members and band employees from the Boys Fort Reservation Tribal Council regarding a data privacy breach on today's date is the announcement, August 17, 2022. On August 16, 2022 at approximately 8:00 a.m., RTC executive session information was inadvertently disclosed that contained confidential information under the band's data privacy ordinance. This information was sent to band members via email and text messages who signed up to receive notifications from the band via the Regroup software platform. And it also went out to employees that signed up for Regroup. The RTC takes any breach of confidential information very seriously and has taken the following steps in response to the breach. First, the link sent to access the confidential information was retracted as soon as possible to restrict access to the information. Anyone seeking to access the information through the email or text message can no longer do so. Second, a message was sent to all individuals who received the information requesting that they immediately delete it and advising that intentional disclosure is a violation of band law subject to a monetary fine under the data privacy ordinance. Third, an investigation of the disclosure itself is currently underway and will be conducted consistent with the tribal government's personnel policy with the goal of addressing the conduct that led to the breach and determining if additional controls need to be implemented to prevent a similar breach from occurring again. Finally, the band will track access to the information through the Regroup software platform to the extent possible and will pursue all legal remedies against any individual who intentionally discloses the confidential information in question. Band members or employees impacted by this breach are encouraged to contact Miranda Lilia, our Director of Human Resources, Boys Fort Tribal Government at, and this is her email address, M as in Mason, LILYA at boysfort N as in Ned, S as in Sam, N as in Ned.gov. Her telephone number at the office is 218-757-3261, extension 1161, or 218-404-6678 is her work cell with any questions or concerns. Additionally, if you aren't sure whether you are impacted by the breach, Human Resources can also confirm if you are the subject of any information disclosed. In closing, band members and employees need to feel confident that their personal information is safeguarded to the maximum extent possible when held by the tribal government. The RTC is committed to addressing this issue and taking all necessary steps to prevent it from happening again. I also want to note that in our meeting this morning, there will be personal apologies from the tribal council to everyone who was affected, all the employees who were affected by this breach. So that's a statement I have right now, and it will be going out. So we just wanted to make that aware for everybody. So we will move on now with our meeting because Tara and Robert have to get to their training. So next we have approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or to the agenda?
I got to remove the request to hold a raffle from Miranda Lilia.
Oh, it's on the other side. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Is that raffle, Robbie?
Yes, sir. Yep, the raffle.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda with that deletion of that line item.
Move.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have approval of our meeting minutes from July 6, 2022. Any questions on the July 6, 2022 meeting minutes?
Yes, under the consent agenda on the first one there, when we talked about the transportation manager apply for MinDOT Public, I think we should let the people know about the grant that they received. I think that should be mentioned.
Robbie, do you want to mention that? What Jenny got?
I'm trying to look it up here. I'm sorry. Is that for the building grant, you mean?
Yeah, that big grant they got.
Yeah, I just can't remember if it was 9.2 or 9.3 million that they received for their new public works, or not public works, Big Woods Transit facility out. It'll be located out there, I believe.
At Joe Roy's field.
Yeah.
Jenny Rowland, our Big Woods Transit person, applied for funding through the, is it the federal? I'm not sure where it came from. But she was awarded the entire grant, which was over 9 million, to construct a facility for the public transit program here at Boys Fort. So we're very proud of that. And we want to congratulate Jenny on a job well done on that grant. That's huge. And it will be out at Joe Roy's field for all of you that know where that location is or where the public works is also located. So great job, Jenny. Anything else?
It was 9.5 million.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I see your hand. Thank you. 9.5 million.
9.5 million.
Yeah. And I believe that included water and sewer out to them too.
Yes,
so.
it did. Yep, because currently there's no community water and sewer out there. So it'll allow for more infrastructure for in that area. So that's great. We also got a grant, Tony Wakeham up got a grant for it's over 700,000 to convert a couple of the transit buses to propane in a propane filling station for green efforts. So that's good. We're moving right along. I want to thank our people that are applying for grants because they're doing a great job and going after additional funds, not ARPA funds, but additional funding for things that we need. So, okay. Moving on. Anything else on the minutes from July 6th? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Meeting minutes from 7/20, July 20, 2022. Questions? If no questions, I'll call for a motion to approve the July 20 meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have sole source request for FI Salter Real Estate, $80,000 to appraise 23 buildings, 400. Sole source request to Henry Schein Dental, $26,220.65 for a new dental chair and equipment. Approve the 2022 per capita amount of $895, 400. Sole source airfare for 14 individuals, $17,399.39. This is for the Head Start workers to attend Head Start training. It is allowable in their grant. 400. Resolution number 17-2023, remove David Morrison and appoint Tara 401k trustee. 400. The contract for FI Salter Real Estate. 400. Independent contractor agreement for Leland Lisi for the Boys Fort Minneapolis picnic. He was the caterer. 400. Resolution number 2023, contract additional work on the temporary berm at the Heart Lake Dam. 400. Sole source to DSC Communications for $16,970.56. 400. Sole Source to Goggle Eye Logging for 164 cords of firewood to 22 elders households, 400. And last, FY 2021 Continuum of Care, St. Louis County and Boys Fort agreement in the amount of $59,954 for 10/1/22 through 9/30/23. Okay, any questions on the consent agenda?
Yes, for number C, approve the 2022 per capita amount. Two things is that, I think that we need to start working on, setting up direct deposit for next year.
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of band members are having problems, with their per capita. And also maybe looking at changing the per capita policy, so that if a band member mail, either fax in or emails their change of address in because they're trying to make it to the deadline, that maybe we should change that policy basically to accommodate the band members. Just my thought.
Okay. I know that we had talked about doing the direct deposit, and since that time, we've had a lot of the CARES Act, the ARPA, the infrastructure funding come down. And with staff turnover, we haven't been able to, but we are going to start focusing on that for next year already. So we're hoping to get that hopefully in place, because I do believe that will alleviate. So we're having some band members that are having issues trying to cash checks at some like Walmart and whatever. But yeah, and we can revisit the policy with regards to per capita, and Kim will be a part of that as well. So, and Jeff and the council. So good. Okay, anything else? If not, call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move.
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Okay, first we have Ryan Hagan Good Sky with Wendy Dethridge, Joe Murphy, and Danny Paratus for good food guidelines for the Boys and Girls Club to use commercial grade blenders for healthy smoothies for use for 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, sorry.
Good morning, Buju Minagajib.
Good morning.
Bonjour, good morning. For our presentation today, we have just a 4-slide presentation. Is
Okay.
it okay if I share screen?
Sure.
Great. Thank
Yep.
you. All right, can we see this okay?
Oh, cute.
I'm trying to, there we go. Awesome. Well, thank you for having us. We're gonna have our Boys and Girls Club managers start us off, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay.
Buju, hello. Thank you for having us here today to present a project that we've been collaborating with the Rutabaga Project at AEOA, the Boys for It Food Sovereignty Group, and the Indigenous Food Labs out of the Twin Cities on a healthy Ojibwe smoothies demo at the Boys and Girls Clubs. So far, the Rutabaga Project has purchased a blender for each site, Nett Lake and Vermilion, and the food labs out of the Twin Cities have designed smoothies with Ojibwe food ingredients. And then at any point during our presentation, if you feel like you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. Just stop us and feel free to go along or ask as we go along.
Wendy, were you going to say anything?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Here with us today is Danny Paratus, who will talk about the Rutabaga Project, the program that purchased the smoothie blenders, and how the funding source provided the equipment to inspire what's known as Good Food Guidelines, which is written guidance for the clubs to have its own healthy and Ojibwe foods policy at each site whenever possible. Danny is here too in a support role as an intermediary with the Boys for Food Sovereignty program.
Okay, wonderful. Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, Miigwech, guys. And so Joe Murphy was our contact at Rutabaga Project. He has since moved on to a new position, and we were just notified, so I'm kind of taking over his portion. So a little bit of background on Good Food Guidelines. It's a program that the Rutabaga Project partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health, and their objective is to support healthy eating and increase Minnesota's purchasing of healthier food, healthy food service guidelines in a variety of community settings. So this project specifically with the Boys and Girls Club at Net Lake in Vermilion was to provide another avenue for youth to have more fresh whole foods in the form of these healthy smoothies, and to assist in securing more local foods when available into their existing culinary program, and to help uplift the tribal initiatives of expanding food sovereignty. So through Good Food Guidelines funding, 2 commercial grade blenders were provided to the Boys Fort Boys and Girls Clubs, and to help introduce smoothies into the diets of children attending each club. Existing grant money at the Boys and Girls Clubs were also used to acquire 2 shares of fresh produce from a local source, the Fat Chicken Farm in Embarrass, Minnesota. So these shares will be a start to supplement produce that typically is otherwise bought at a grocery store with fresh, locally grown produce. If these produce shares are successful, the intention of potentially purchasing more shares in the following year may be considered. And Boys Fort is also working on expanding their own local produce production by way of their own gardening, which could be another source of fresh produce for their program. So there's gardens at the Boys and Girls Clubs. We've had garden caretakers or caregivers helping with those at each site. And then we've also had a partnership with the North American Traditional Indigenous Food Systems, AKA Natives, based in Minneapolis, also known as the Indigenous Food Lab. And they were contracted to assist in developing those Ojibwe smoothie recipes, which are easy to prepare, they're nutritious, they contain indigenous ingredients, and the children really enjoyed drinking them up. So after conducting a pair of site visits, they completed 5 recipes that were chosen by the clubs to be used every 2 weeks. And so with that, here are the guidelines we're asking the council to approve. These are very relaxed. They are not, they're guidelines, right? Not regulations. So the guidelines are that the smoothies will be made at least every 2 weeks, that we'll use the recipes provided by natives and their indigenous food labs, that the Boys and Girls Club, and they're already doing this great work, will source local produce for the smoothies, that they will focus on nutritious, native, and healthy ingredients when available, that the next slide will have these food procurement guidelines that they will follow in terms of our preferences on where to source from. And then, of course, as we're already doing, they're already doing that regular food safety standards will be followed. And so for our sourcing preferences, the reason, of course, just as a big reminder why we want to source local, it's a really good thing for the economy. So you'll see on the left side of the slide, this is just good data whenever anybody's going for local food funding. We can retain about 51 million in our region annually. That's the taconite assistance area across the Iron Range. If we sourced even just 20% of our food locally. So if you just can imagine that for Boys Fort, that's our long-term vision, build up our economy while we're, improving the health and wellness of our people and our youth. So with that, we're looking primarily to source from Boys Fort food producers. Then next, general Minnesota Chippewa tribe. Thirdly, any other Minnesota-based indigenous food producers. 4th preference would be any local farmer within a 100-mile radius. And then, of course, leaving flexibility for the clubs because we don't have large production up here yet to meet, our full nutrition needs. So, of course, going to grocery stores or box stores to get food items. And so with that, I will pass it back to our club managers.
So our clubs are already sourcing locally. We signed up for CSA boxes, and we partnered with local people to get eggs and ground beef from local band members.
Wendy, were you gonna say something?
Yep.
There you go.
We are requesting the Boys Fort Tribal Council to approve the attached good food guidelines with the Boys Fort Boys and Girls Club for use of the commercial grade blenders to make the healthy smoothies for the youth every 2 weeks.
And looking at this project, it's awesome. You see, I see adults making a lot of smoothies, you know, for better health. And I just have a question. I was looking at the any berry wild rice smoothie recipe. Can these recipes be shared on our website, or are they just specific for the Boys and Girls Club? Because these are some really good looking smoothies that recipes that are indigenous and I'd like to try that any berry wild rice smoothie. So
Actually,
can we share these?
Actually, we've been asked not to share them
Okay.
outside of the club. However, we could possibly do some tastings for.
Oh, yeah.
I think the reason they didn't want them shared outside of the club, so they have a really like rigorous, like I guess professional
Okay.
process of developing these recipes. So the 5 that we have are okay for use at the club, but they have a like food scientists that can scale the recipes for
Nice.
better taste, I think is the intention.
Okay.
So once those get scaled and we can get their permission to, I think it'd be great in the next project I'll be presenting on with Squidge, finding a place on the website for all of our recipes, indigenous food recipes or local band member recipes for cooking, that would be fantastic. So I will definitely get permission and get those recipes scaled so they can be shared.
Wonderful. Can we have some samples? Can they do some samples from the Boys and Girls Clubs to get people to come up and do a Boys and Girls Club day or something? And that would be good. I'd love to taste these. But also it gets us up to the Boys and Girls Clubs, gets the adults up, gets the family there to see what the kids are doing. So is that a possibility?
I think that's a great idea.
Good. We'll look for your invite. How's that?
Yum, yum. Very excited.
Yeah, I know. Any questions, Council, on the Healthy Smoothie project here?
No question, but I think it's a great program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, with that, I'll call for a motion then to approve the good food guidelines for the healthy smoothies for our youth for every 2 weeks.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Exciting project. Awesome. Love to see that.
But
Chimagwich, everybody.
Keep up the good work, everybody.
thank you.
Yeah,
Doing
really
awesome.
cool.
Good job.
Miigwech. Have a good day.
Okay, Danny, if you just want to stay on, next we have you
Oh,
and Dave Morrison Jr. For Seeding Cultural Treasures Program Partnership with Boys Fort Food Sovereignty Group.
Good morning,
Oh.
David.
Bonjour, minogizem,
Bonjour.
ani nejiayan.
Okay,
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead. Either one of you. Start. You can start.
Sounds good. I am going to do a share screen again. It's not as pretty as the previous PowerPoint. Just a Word doc, but something to follow here.
Oh, thank you.
Yay. So we were here to present in May, a few months ago, and great news. The project we applied for, or project funding from the Seeding Cultural Treasures grant program at Propel Nonprofits in the cities was approved.
Yay,
Later
congratulations.
found out, yay, thank you. Yep, we're really excited. We later found out it's general operating funds. So we have flexibility in how we can use these through the food sovereignty group. And we're really grateful for the partnership opportunity with Squidge and his program and his work. So as we all know, Squidge hosts netting clinics and wild rice clinics. And so the intention of this funding is really to support the great work already being done by community health. We have events that are offered, and we're trying to, I guess, rebuild and revitalize like the day-to-day experience of, you know, eating our foods, but then bringing in our culture and community. And so the funds we're going to allocate with Squidge's program for a part-time position, or actually probably an independent contractor to work with Squidge as a, calling it for now, a full circle foods promoter. And so in May, we were talking about, you know, we have these opportunities to learn, but sometimes participation is low. And so we were thinking of doing social media, but Kathy, you had recommended, you know, the door-to-door canvassing and to go back to that in person. So, you know, part of their work will be door-to-door, but through email with Nikki and Robbie and Jeff Holt. We don't necessarily need the council to approve this grant agreement because it's between the food sovereignty group and the Propel nonprofits, the funder. So we will need to come back at probably, you know, maybe October to have an MOU signed. But between now and then, Squidge was recommending, you know, maybe we plan for like a kickoff meeting and invite other programs to see where they could fit in to partner with the new position that will be coming to promote foods. So in this document, you know, there's the background on all of this. So it's a $70,000 operating grant where $50,000 will pay for that promotions program and kind of building this like new culture and collective of people at Boysport in favor of our foods and healthy eating. The remaining $20,000, we were going to try to contract with a small foods processing facility like developer to do like a feasibility study or do like an action plan. But honestly, for capacity, we will scale that down to figuring out how we can get this curriculums into our schools and more into our boys and girls clubs and any opportunity that where youth are already, you know, there, and just to, you know, keep that education going and making sure it's consistent. So on those lines, we'd like to use the 20,000 to build our Boysport Food Sovereignty Group into a nonprofit that is a hub for making sure that schools and youth programs have healthy and Ojibwe foods, education and opportunities, learning opportunities available. The Food Sovereignty Group, if successful, will receive like $3,000 a month for 20 years through this innovative Northland Solar Commons trust fund, where the express beneficiary, the lead lady, Catherine Milan, she's awesome. She's trying to raise $1 million to put a solar array on a commercial business. And that business partner has already promised their energy savings to the group for 20 years. So the Food Sovereignty Group, you know, as it develops into a nonprofit, is right now working on a business plan of sorts, or a plan for the use of those trust funds for 20 years, which will be anchored again in that education of youth and overall supporting the greater food sovereignty movement. The requirements on our Food Sovereignty Group end, we are partnering with Propel in a cohort. And so they're going to have kickoff activities, a few convenings. They offer technical assistance to build the capacity of nonprofit. They have leadership labs. So definitely Squidge and the contracted hire will, you know, at any point invited in to participate in these as an awesome partner. And we have like technical assistance for financial management, board governance for a nonprofit, all that fun stuff. And so some of the activities we've identified on focusing on, it's going to be seasonal work. So in fall, wild rice, winter, maybe rabbit snaring, spring, of course, the netting, and then planting the home gardens. In the summer, foraging and more home garden maintenance with individual families and the Boys and Girls Clubs. And then the nonprofit goals, determine whether or not our food sovereignty group will have an actual like office, but more than likely to start out, it'll be like a virtual space, just as we've been doing. And further defining equipment needs and budgeting for those training opportunities for wild racing and fishing and everything by the seasons. And then figure out other overhead needs to go into a budget where the Solar Commons funds will afford that over the course of 20 years. And so I will now quit blabbering so much and I will pass it off to Squidge to share his vision also.
All right, Miigwech, Danny, and I'd just like to applaud Danny and Renika for their passion for this Indigenous food sovereignty. That's really says a lot how much they care for the community and whatnot. Yeah, like Danny was saying, we'd like to start off with a kickoff meeting at some point. Some of the things we thought we'd have like a food demo day, maybe with some deer meat, having a couple different wild rice dishes, some walleye, and then also use some of the foods that are out at the food shelf. Maybe like do a bison meatloaf, maybe do some air fryer with the walleye that they have out there as well. Also, it's going to be this person, is going to have to be pretty passionate about, providing this because, our goal is, have like a Red Lakes food, where we have our traditional foods available for our band members. So, it's, it might take a while to get going, as anything else, it takes some time to build up something. So, like I said, our goal right now is to start slowly and hopefully generate it. And like Danny was saying, kind of collaborating on some of the stuff that we've been doing with the EHDI program, like the wild racing that we do with the youth. We've incorporated that with the school right now. And Ryan Bejan would be a pretty good to collaborate. Peyton Counts, family, the culture healing, the family support, and the SHIP programs. We're thinking those programs would all be interested in collaborating with this grant that we got. So, and like Danny was saying, our goal is to get a Boys Fort traditional food cookbook. And maybe sometime at some point we could have our own smoothies on there, I make different types of rice. I make a breakfast rice, I make a dessert rice, hot dish. I know there's people that make wild Rice Krispie bars. There's people that have really good deer meat recipes out there. If they'd be willing to share those with this for our Boys Fort cookbook. And some of the things that we have is storytelling of our activities. That's one thing that we really need to push for is getting our community coming together, supporting this program, because that's how we'll be reporting back for this grant is our storytelling stories. And that's all I have right now.
Okay. I just want to say Miigwech and commend our young people that are getting involved with food sovereignty in other different areas, because it's nice to see you guys step up and take charge of this and start saying, this is what we need to do. I really appreciate that. And I want to commend you young people, you and Danny and others that are taking that next step, helping us out as a community and as a people. Also, I want to say that the council, this pandemic has been really hard on everybody, and it causes a lot of stress. It causes a lot of health issues. It causes whatever. And we know as a council that we need to get back to community. And we've been talking about trying to do some type of community things to get our people to come together again. And so it was mentioned to have get back our community meetings in Minneapolis and in Bemidji and with our tribal members. And we used to have community meetings even in Nett Lake and Vermillion, but I think that the council realizes that now is the time, you know, with the pandemic, it's going to be here forever. I'll be honest with you, the virus, probably like the flu. And so we need to start moving forward with our community. So I really want to say, Chi McWitch to you both. This is awesome. You're making me hungry when you're talking about deer meat, wild rice recipes. And so awesome project. I just want to commend you on getting the grant too. So that's just my comments. I'm hungry now. So
That's one thing we also were thinking about, possibly getting some additional funding for people that, to have these, have their foods available for people to sample, and maybe even have like an indigenous food cook-off where people come in, bring in their dishes and people could vote on which recipe they like and maybe have something for them. And also for advertising too, I was thinking that, I know you had mentioned the door-to-door, but I was thinking maybe we could have our one representative for one of our D1 reps and our D2 rep wear a cardboard over their chest with a little bell and walk around town. Maybe people
That would work.
People would come up and read the cardboard.
awesome, Squidge.
Not too sure about that one there, Squidge.
Any questions or comments for Squidge and Nikki? David, we call everybody by nicknames. We know that.
It's Danny too. You call
Danny, I'm sorry. Sorry, Danny.
Good job, everyone. This is really some good stuff going on here.
Okay, if not, I'll call for a motion to approve well, we don't have to approve it, she said, until we get the MOU. But I really appreciate and support, I think the council loves the idea because it's using our indigenous foods. And then it's also, the food sovereignty is a huge issue. And that's an area that we really don't have a department for. And Danny and yourself are really taking that in the indigenous food group that we have on the reservation, our own group. So I think that's awesome. That's just awesome. So Chi McWitch, we'll look forward to your MOU coming and food sampling and tasting again. Smoothies, food sampling. Sounds good.
Like I said, just watch out for the kickoff day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, make sure we get it out on the social media sites too and everywhere. So, and
Perfect.
we'll promote it. Good. Great job, guys. Thank you so much.
So Chi McWitch. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, next we have Deanna Drift with resolution number 24, 2023.
Good morning, Dee Dee.
Good morning. Sorry, it took me a while, but
That's okay.
so I have one item on the agenda, and that is the recreational lease for Daniel Sadlowski.
Okay, got it. And this is a new recreational lease, not a renewal.
Yeah.
But yep, got it. Okay. Any questions on the issuance of a recreational lease to Daniel Sadlowski? Not a call for a motion to approve.
I'll approve.
Okay, thanks, Tara. Motion by Tara. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. Good job, Dee Dee.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Okay, next we have Pam Parsons, an update on compliance program.
Is she here?
You look. She's waiting.
There she is.
Okay.
Good morning, Pam.
Hello.
Hello. Bonjour.
Why can't I see it?
We can hear you, Pam. We just can't see you.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. We can hear you.
Can't find my video even. Being recorded.
There
Okay,
you
I'm
are.
here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Pam.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. All right, you guys want my report, I'm assuming.
Yes.
All right. So I don't have a huge report today, but I just wanted to let the RTG know and all of the band members know that 2022 Health and Human Services employee training is almost completed. I have about 18 staff that still are working on it. Our accounting staff, our human resources staff, our IT staff, and our council have all completed their trainings. So we're doing pretty well on the trainings. To date, the compliance issues that have been reported since January. So we've had a total of 5 privacy issues that we took in. 2 received sanctions, 3 the compliance committee determined no violations. We had 6 compliance issues reported, and all of them issues were corrected. And then we actually had 2 complaints, patient complaints that were resolved. So that's kind of our 2022 things that I have dealt with. So we're doing really well with our compliance program. Thanks, Council, for doing the training with me last week. Now, does anybody else have questions?
No, I think that, I don't have a question, but I just want to say that the compliance is a huge issue within the health and human services field due to HIPAA compliance. And Pam's position is to ensure that we are in compliance. And so she and the staff have done a great job with getting us up to that level that we need to be at, and it is required for if we want to get accredited. And so I think that people also, what I like about your report, Pam, is that people can hear exactly what's going on, because there's talk in community about, oh, they'll tell about my record, they'll do this, they'll do that. But Pam is the safeguard for that compliance issue, and so I'm really glad to hear you give us the report today.
Right, thank you guys.
I'll just like to commend Pam and staff up there for the great job that they've been doing regarding compliance and getting everything in compliance. When I first came on board, we went through that big ordeal and the huge turnaround that you guys have done and the strides that you've made, and it's awesome. Keep up with the job.
Yep.
Thanks, Shane.
Any
So if
questions?
there's no other questions, if anybody has any compliance issues they need to report, please come. Have an open door policy. There's an email, complaints at Boyce Fort nsn.gov. You can also pick up the phone and call me. So there's a number of ways. So, but otherwise, compliance is moving forward.
Great job, Pam.
Good
Thank
job,
you all.
good job.
Thank you all
All
up
right.
there.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Yep. Have a good day. Thank you. Keep up
Thanks,
the good
Pam.
work.
Thank you.
Kathy, you may want to just mention like how this came about or
Oh,
why we
sure,
have
sure.
Pam on. You know, the viewers
Yep.
probably don't understand why we
Good
just have
idea,
this one
Tara.
thing on.
Good idea. A few years back, I'm not exactly sure when, Pam probably knows the date. There was the federal government, the Office of Inspector General, decided to start going around and the OIG, it's called. We always use acronyms. The OIG was going to go around and require tribes to be in compliance with federal regulations. And they did go to a tribe out in the Dakotas. And what they do is if they find that they're in non-compliance, that they did close that clinic. And so what we were scared of is that, and they said the Office of Inspector General can go around anytime and knock on your door and let you know they're there. And so we did a proactive approach with Pam and a consultant to say, we need to get in compliance because we don't have our policies, procedures. We don't have all these steps in place that need to be there. Because we don't want to be shut down. We don't want to be fined. We don't want any of that. So then Pam and the consultant we hired, and Pam, you can tell the consultant, I can't remember off the top of my head, basically started that whole process, which involves a lot of departments, as she mentioned, accounting, IT, the tribal council, because we're considered the health board right now, and HR. So there's different areas of the compliance, and Pam and her staff have come a long way. So Pam, when did it start?
We actually started our compliance program June 19th of 2019.
Okay. So in a
No,
matter of
18, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. And so they've come along and done, a lot of policies, procedures, complaint policies, things that were never in place before. Oh, go ahead, Tara. I see you want to say something.
I was just going to say that that's a really good overall explanation. I meant just why we have Pam on for an update, how that came about, and if it's going to be a recurring,
Sorry.
Yes, it should be.
I really went back in history, didn't I? Pam had mentioned that we need, thanks, thank you. Pam had mentioned that she really needs to report to the health board or to the tribal council. And also I think it's a good idea to report to the people.
Yes.
What's going on within the compliance issue within our health and human services, to reassure them that we are taking compliance as a high priority for the healthcare of our people. So sorry, Tara, I kind of went into it there, but okay.
I think
Pam has done a wonderful job.
I think, just to go off what Kathy was talking about, the history, why we're here, where we're at now, I think is that, back then, we were facing at them having our clinic possibly shut down because we're not in compliance. And that the tribe could end up paying $27 million if they would have been fined. But we turned it all around. Pam and them turned it all around, and they're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. So Pam will be on our meeting agenda monthly to give that update. Okay, good. Miigwech, Pam. Have a good day. Okay, that's the last item on our agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
I'll move.
Oh, moved by Travis, seconded by Tara. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, silent, motion carried. We hope everybody has a good day and stay safe. The virus is still out there. Make sure you get vaccinated. If not, be sure to test at home if you're feeling ill. But we want to say Chi Miigwech to everybody for watching the meeting today, and have a good day.
And if anyone sees Kathy today, tell her happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 29.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. 29. Have a good day, everybody.